Alive and Well STL is a presentation of the St. Louis Regional Health Commission and RareGem Productions to build a healthier St. Louis. Power up with the positive. Learn more at OneRareGem.com. That's OneRaregem.com.
Support for Alive and Well STL comes from Beyond Housing, helps entire communities become better places to live. Learn more at beyondhousing.org.
The Regional Health Commission works in partnership with regional health sector advocates and stakeholders to improve healthcare access, reduce health disparities, and improve health outcomes for the uninsured and the underinsured in St. Louis City and County.
Alive and Well STL with Bethany Johnson-Javois, CEO of the St. Louis Integrated Health Network.
Many of us enter a new year with self-improvement resolutions such as exercise more, eat healthier foods, quit smoking, and the list goes on. This list, which focuses on a better body, goes on for many of us. While we realize the need to be physically well, and note this in our New Year's resolutions, many of us overlook addressing our mental and spiritual wellness.
I think one of the things that we have been guilty of for generations is masking our concerns. So when something bothers you and it's really stressful, children are excellent barometers. But rather than being upfront and addressing what the situation is in a way and a language that they can understand, we try to hide it and tell them that everything is okay. But they read it in our body language. They see it on our faces. They see it in our interactions with them. So one of the things that I would definitely recommend is to just be candid, because stress happens for young people. And by us ignoring it and trying to act like we don't experience the stress, we don't build the discipline or give them the tools and resources they need to be able to learn how to appropriately manage the stress that they inevitably encounter.
In order to be physically well, we must also be mentally and spiritually well. So as we enter 2015, we want to take the time to recognize small steps that you and your family can take in order to achieve wellness this year. We'll be right back. Connie, tell us what you have resolved to do to be more alive and well in 2015.
I am practicing gratefulness. I practice gratefulness by turning my radio off in the morning when I drive to work and just listing the things I'm grateful for. Sometimes that's that my car started. Sometimes it's that there's heat on a really cold day. Or that there's sunshine, so it doesn't have to be real complicated. And the other thing I'm doing is clearing out things. I believe if you clear out things, more good things can come in, so I'm clearing out the clutter in my life, literal clutter.
Not waiting till the springtime to do some cleaning.
Alive and Well STL.
Hello, and thank you for joining us today. I am Bethany Johnson-Javois, host of Alive and Well STL and managing director of the Ferguson Commission. Today we are joined in the studio by Connie Fisher, director of mental health promotion at Mental Health America of Eastern Missouri, and Riisa Easley, project director at St. Louis Regional System of Care. As we talk and think about what it means for our community to be alive and well in this new year, I am pleased to be speaking with both of you today, especially as we are working to keep our resolutions. Mm-hmm. Many of us enter a new year with self-improvement resolutions such as exercise more, eat healthier foods, quit smoking, and the list goes on. This list, which focuses on a better body, goes on for many of us. While we realize the need to be physically well, and note this in our New Year's resolutions, many of us overlook addressing what I feel are fundamental, our mental and spiritual wellness. Or we think of exercise and diet as a way to lose weight, but not necessarily as a way to improve our overall well-being. As we are learning through Alive and Well STL together, in order to be physically well, we must also be mentally and spiritually well. So as we enter 2015, we want to take the time to recognize small steps that you and your family can take in order to achieve wellness this year. Connie and Riisa, thank you both for being here. How can our listeners begin living their lives well with focus on both their physical, mental, spiritual health? What are some of those small steps that they can take?
Absolutely. Just developing a daily practice. If you make a list and decide these are the 3 things that I'm going to do because I know that when I do these things, I feel better, and then you go through your checklist every day, it becomes a habit. So one of the things that I would definitely recommend is finding something that's uplifting or motivational that you can read or listen to every morning. We have no control over what happens once we hit the door, but we can definitely prepare ourselves so that when we do encounter whatever arises, we're in a better emotional and mental state to deal with it. I would say that you would definitely need to incorporate a physical practice because we've learned how important that link between mind and body is. So it can be something really small, like, you know what, I'm going to take 5,000 steps a day and I'm going to have a pedometer, which can be acquired really cheaply to be able to count how many steps I'm taking. Something that simple goes a long way into helping us both physically and mentally. And so I talked about spiritual, I talked about physical, and then just a mental practice. One of the things is saying, I'm going to just pay attention to when I feel stressed out. And rather than saying, like most of us do, oh, I'm stressed, I'm actually going to say, wait, I'm stressed out. Why is it? And is there something I can do about it? So being intentional in those moments are 3 really simple, quick ways that you can incorporate today and use them throughout the year.
Connie, I picked up on something you said that's important. You can actually frame the type of day you're going to have by being grateful.
Right.
You can choose to have that day that you want by being grateful up front. Any other thoughts you have or suggestions about
I think
wellness?
People think they have to do everything separate, and you can actually combine things and get them done together and improve both your mental and physical health. For example, if you take a walk, that's your exercise of choice, and you do it with somebody, now you've combined 2 different things that are going to help both your mental and physical health, because taking a walk with somebody, connecting to other people is like one of the best things you can do for your mental health. Now, it has to be the right people. It can't be those people that make you feel worse. It has to be those people that make you feel better. But if you connect to those people, the research shows you live longer, healthier, and happier. And who doesn't want that? Also, if you take a problem out for a walk with a friend, you use both your left and right side of your brain. So you're using your logical brain and your creative brain, and you're going to actually come up with a better solution than if you just sit and think about a problem. So if you take a problem out for a walk with a friend, you've connected to others, you've done your exercise, and you've solved a problem.
That's great advice. I'm actually going to take you up on that. So, Connie, following up, the stress of our lives significantly impacts our emotional well-being in some ways we may not even realize. What are some of the signs that this is happening, and how can we begin to address this stress and take control? Some examples you've already given, but anything else that comes to mind?
Some of the signs are you feel overwhelmed. Your memory, particularly your short-term memory, is shot. You can't remember where you put your keys. You can't remember what you came in this room for, what you were about to say. And the reason that happens is when you're stressed, some cells actually die in the hippocampus in the brain that have to do with short-term memory. The good news is they do come back when the stressor's over. Also, you find yourself being a little over-emotional. You might be more anxious, more angry. I know when my husband's having a stressful day because he answers his phone like this. What? That's not a good day. Okay? Mm-hmm. So you find that you lead with an emotion and it comes out of you kind of willy-nilly. So those are some of the things that we see as symptoms. One of the quickest ways to de-stress is to breathe correctly. And most people who are anxious or stressed are shallow chest breathing. So if you want to correct your breath, you want to breathe from your belly. And so your stomach should be going in and out. And the easiest way to remember to do that when you're stressed is to yawn fast. If you yawn fast, your belly will automatically go out. Yawning's contagious, so everyone around you will calm down, and you'll calm down. So it's a nice, good technique. Also, you can breathe in for 5, hold for 5, breathe out for 5. If you do that 3 times, you will reverse that stress response. It's very simple. And the best way to handle stress, I think, is to watch your perception. Perception is all what creates our stress. We can experience the same thing, and if my perception is it's bad and yours is it's good, it's a totally different reaction. So if a dog walked in this room, I love dogs, I would be thrilled and excited. But if you have a dog phobia, you're going to be wanting to get out of the room. So totally different perception of what's going on.
So, Riisa, a stressed out parent can have a stressed out kid or vice versa. Can you talk a bit about parents? I'm particularly sensitive right now, having listened to over 120 young people last Saturday speaking of their life experience, speaking of some of the things that are happening on the streets in the community. And parents, young men, young women are coming up to us saying, I'm concerned for this next generation that I'm parenting. I'm concerned for them. So the stress is coming out in lots of different ways. Do you have any thoughts about how parents and children can work together to de-stress their environment?
Absolutely. And that's a wonderful question. I think one of the things that we have been guilty of for generations is masking our concerns. So when something bothers you and it's really stressful, children are excellent barometers. But rather than being upfront and addressing what the situation is in a way and a language that they can understand, we try to hide it and tell them that everything is okay. But they read it in our body language. They see it on our faces. They see it in our interactions with them. So one of the things that I would definitely recommend is to just be candid. Now, obviously, depending on the age of your child, how much information and the manner in which you share the information is going to differ vastly. But for me, I try to make it a practice of if something is wrong and my kids ask me, Mom, are you okay? I say, you know what? I'm having a really stressful day. And so it could mean that I need a moment because I want to model that behavior because stress happens for young people. And by us ignoring it and trying to act like we don't experience the stress, we don't build the discipline or give them the tools and resources they need to be able to learn how to appropriately manage the stress that they inevitably encounter. So my role as a parent is to be honest and candid and to model those type of resilient coping mechanisms that I want my children to learn. And then to go a step beyond that and to actually debrief with them. So if something happens, I have gone to my children and I've asked them, what have you heard? How did that feel? How does that resonate with you? Is there anything that you'd like to do? How can I support you in this? Because they understand that what they're impacted by is significant, it's important to me, and that we are a team to help one another through those difficult circumstances. The other thing that I definitely recommend is to just carve out time, even if you have to write it into your calendar, carve out time that's specific to nothing, to being with your family. I hate video games and I'm horrible at them. But because my son loves video games, we would have time when we would just play video games because that's how we connected. My son hates musicals, but he knows that that is my thing and I'm a closet Broadway wannabe. And so he purchased The Sound of Music for me. And so he'll actually subject himself to it once a year because that's what I love. And so finding those ways where we can connect and just be rather than constantly going and doing is another way to build that resilience and relationship that helps to insulate us against whatever other stressors the external environment presents on a day-to-day basis.
I want to reiterate that point because sometimes I think we think we're protecting other people. But the truth is, at least in my life, when I can say, I just did it last night, I am having anxiety about X. Just verbalizing it, my anxiety level went down. And everything that was in my head that I couldn't sleep because it was lists and lists and lists, just saying it in the atmosphere released it. So it's such a great point, just to name it and articulate it in a way that it can kind of get in the atmosphere and you can get some support. Do you have any other thoughts, Connie?
I really agree with that. I think parents who take care of themselves model how kids can take care of themselves. So I think what Riisa said is really important, that modeling. And also, if you ask the youngest child in a family what they need to do to fix what's wrong, they can answer you. Mm-hmm. If they can talk, they can answer you. And it's amazing. If you say, I'm giving you a magic wand, what would you do to fix Daddy? Well, I'd make him not be so mad. What would you do to fix Mommy? Well, I would make her calm down. And they have the answers, but they don't have the how-tos. So we as parents can teach them how to calm down, relax, and teach them the coping skills by modeling the coping skills for handling stress. All of us are going to deal with stress. And the situations in St. Louis now, people are dealing with more than their share of stress. So any skills that they can learn are going to help. And that's also going to help their physical health.
So to both of you, Riisa and Connie, we're learning with Alive and Well that toxic stress and adverse childhood experiences do affect us physically, mentally, and emotionally. While there are many stages from prevention to recovery of dealing with toxic stress and trauma, building resiliency, which is what you've mentioned, is critical. It's important. So how can our listeners move forward and build resiliency in their own lives so that our community, too, can become more resilient? We know that it starts local and then it goes global. And is there work being done perhaps in your organizations in these areas to help build this type of resiliency we're speaking of?
Yes. Mental Health America has a Reaching Resilience seminar, which goes through 3 types of change, how to cope with each type of change, because it's a little different for each type of change, and then also goes through 8 resilience skills that you actually practice in the seminar. We can do those for parents. We can do those for any kind of group. We've done them for staff. We've done them for some of the teachers in the Ferguson School District, so in other school districts. So these are skills that can be learned. You don't have to be born with them. And when you practice them, you realize, wow, I've got a lot of tools in my toolbox. I don't have to always pull up the sledgehammer. Sometimes the tack hammer will do. Doesn't mean I get rid of the sledgehammer. It just means I need to have a choice of when I use it.
Well, inquiring minds want to know. Okay. So 3 types of change. What are they?
The first one is shock. That's a type of change that happens that's out of your control. You don't see it coming. It's not good. It's things like a death, job loss, those kinds of things that are just shocking, and it takes a while to get over them. So it's important to take the time to readjust to the change. The second type is opportunity. Opportunity is also often not in your control, but it's a good thing. It is a surprise, but it moves your life in the direction you want it to go. The problem with opportunity for a lot of people is they feel guilty. If I get a raise, you didn't. If I get a promotion, you didn't. So your guilt does not help the other person at all. We need about, an inch of guilt, so we aren't sociopaths. We don't need rooms full of guilt. That's dysfunctional. So you have the opportunity when you get a promotion to pull somebody else up. You need to look at the power and the good thing about that opportunity. And then the last change is called transition. This one's a little harder to explain. Transition is a change that comes from inside. You just know it's time to do something different. It's really hard to explain to other people. Other people don't like it often. It could be, for me, I was in private practice for 26 years and decided to get out. I knew it was time. I just knew from inside, and my coworkers thought I was crazy. I was successful. I was good at it. Why am I doing this? And I said, I need to be part of a team. I need to be part of a team. And I just know this is the time for me to do that. So other people don't understand. Sometimes somebody gets out of a long marriage where nothing bad's going on. It's just not good anymore. And other people don't understand that. So there's a book called Transitions by an author named Bridges. He says there's an analogy for a transition where you're crossing a street. So one side of the street is an ending. The other side of the street is a beginning. And in the middle is what he calls the neutral zone. This is the yellow line in the middle. He says it's real important to pause on the line in the middle before you go to the new beginning, because if you don't think about what you want, not just what you don't want, you will repeat what you just left. So transitions are pretty important kinds of change. And again, you'll deal with all of them a little differently.
And some of them can happen at the same time.
Absolutely.
Yes, because I'm living that. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us for another lively episode of Alive and Well St. Louis. Be sure to join us next week as we continue our conversation on mental health resilience and resolutions for 2015 with Connie and Riisa. And if you want to learn more or get more information about how to live your life emotionally well or need to find resources for professional help, please visit the website of Mental Health America of Eastern Missouri at mha-em.org. For more information about today's program and to become involved in our Alive and Well STL, download the smartphone application Bonfire, BONFYRE, and search for Alive and Well, or visit us online at aliveandwellstl.com. We'll be back again next week. Thanks for listening.
You are invited to join the conversation. If you, your family, or your organization is interested in talking about how we better the well-being of the region, sign up for more information, join the conversation, log on to aliveandwellstl.com, and let's build a plan on how we can work together and improve our overall health and become alive and well. The Regional Health Commission, with Chief Executive Officer Robert Friend Jr., committed to providing a detailed review of change over the past decade in 14 leading health indicators for the city and county of St. Louis. The first decade review of health status report, an update to building a healthier St. Louis. Discover the narrative, the data, and celebrate the progress already made to improve healthcare access and reduce health disparities in our region. Learn more at stlrhc.org. Alive and Well STL is another positive production of RareGem Productions. Thanks for listening.